Welcome back to the Reset Strategist, where we pause, reflect, and reimagine what it means to care for our aging loved ones and ourselves in this process. Today's guest is someone whose story captures what millions of Americans are living right now: the quiet complexity of caregiving, decision making, grieving in real time, and continuing to show up for those we love. Leslie Reagan is an only child, a devoted daughter, and a caregiver for her mother and now for her aunt. After the loss of her father, she stepped up to help her mother transition through rehab, relocation, and now life in senior living. As many caregivers know, the journey doesn't end there. Leslie now even supports her aging aunt, balancing it all while raising a family and leading a career of her own. Leslie, thank you so much for being here today. Your voice represents so many.
Course. Happy to help. It's a difficult journey to say the least.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you for being here. And before we jump into navigating care, let's start by getting to know your mom, the person behind this story, not just who she is now, but her life's journey. What would you like us to know if we were to meet your mom today or through her life? What do you think would stand out about who she is?
She is very spunky, which is proving to be a challenge in these years. Very talkative. Very talkative, very spunky, very strong-willed. Definitely dedicated to my dad, and they had a great long 48-year marriage. And until he passed, definitely was a good mom, always supported me. Being an only child, I could do no wrong. She definitely had rose colored glasses. I'm like, Mom, that's not true. I am not prettier than so and so and so and so. She just kind of always definitely did always believe in me and support me um, throughout her life. And I'm definitely like, I feel like, with the exception of her sister, I mean, she had no other families. She did always kind of live vicariously through me. Like, never been on a plane. I mean, I used to travel every week with work, flew every week, but really didn't care anything about that. She was fine being at home. Like, I'm the complete opposite. I like to be going and doing. She liked to be at home with my dad, went to church every Sunday, and led a really, I mean, in my mind, a super boring life. Like, she never, didn't want to go a lot of places, didn't do a lot of things, didn't work very long. But she was fine with this quiet life that doesn't involve a lot of the things that mine does.
Sounds like she poured her life into you and your dad, and her life was loving her people.
Well, and herself. I mean, she's always been all about herself. So don't not know that for sure. It was just kind of,
Well, self care is
yeah.
important.
That's also proving to be a challenge now. But yes, she did. And I mean, and I'm at home at 17 and I'm 50. So, my dad died 5 years ago. So we're talking 30 years. When I went to college, I never lived at home again. So for me, our relationship, was a couple of times a year to like, now every day, every need, some needs that I'm like, don't call anymore about that because they're taking care of that there. That's why you're there, but it's a lot. But no, she was a good mom and definitely a good person. And
Oh,
definitely chatty. Everyone will say she's very chatty. That's where I get my chattiness from.
she is very chatty. Well, I have the privilege of knowing her as well. And so I can echo all those sentiments. She is very chatty, most welcoming to new residents coming in. Is on the positive side of things to staff may present differently to you as her daughter. And we'll get into that because there's layers to our persons.
For
Not
sure.
everybody gets the same one, right?
For sure. For sure.
Well, you've experienced caregiving in multiple forms, from long distance coordination to hands on decisions, now walking through this again with your mom and your aunt. So, what has the journey taught you so far about aging family, about yourself, just navigating this that you think would be beneficial for the listener to know?
Get your affairs in order. Get their affairs in order. One thing my mom and aunt can't change now is they didn't work as long as they should have. Like, my aunt hasn't worked since she was 30 and now she's about to be 85. This presents a problem when you get older if you have not, done some savings, done some planning. My
Yes.
dad he worked for the same company for 30 something years. Um, but my mom hasn't worked since I think I was like 7. So she had a lot of years that they really could have been working, and that is something that is a somebody that's worked since I was 15, never missed a paycheck, pay for everything myself. I mean, just finished my doctoral degree at 50 because education's important and hard work is important, and that is what I've
Yes.
instilled in my children and myself. But my dad did work hard, but I feel like my mom and aunt did not work, and that has proven to be an extra burden I have to carry now, like on the financial side. So
Right.
that is one thing I would say to younger folks. All it's going to take is one big thing, and then you're going to have this spiral. So sit down with your like for people my age, because my parents were older when I was born. They were 47 and 36. I'm dealing with this younger than a lot of my friends. So all that to say, sit down with them now.
Yes.
That you need an advanced healthcare directive and a power of attorney. Get those today. Get their information. That was one thing I think my mom did not do well. She had her savings here, checking there, had some annuities. They sold her that like some kind of auto renew CDs, just things she should not have got at 82. So I think the sooner you can at least understand all of their situation, it's going to make it easier to navigate. So my advice is do it all now, get all the details now, because it's already emotional and then it's a big old business problem and it's a lot to handle. So do all those things now so that when it does happen, because I found, and from my friends too, that when one of them dies, the other one, it's kind of downhill pretty fast. And so, like, just to get all of those affairs in order. And if you're like me, that you have an aunt or somebody that there's no one else, get their advanced care directive and their power of attorney, everything you can do easily now. So planning is key for us, because I refuse to have be this big of a burden to my children. Like, I want them to have less stress. I want to have it all planned. I want to have it all organized, paid, like all taken care of, so that all they've got to do is just make sure my wishes happen, that it's not such an overwhelming burden while they're trying to live their lives too.
Yes, that's great advice. So next step would be, what if you are the family member where mom and dad says later, not now, we don't need it. They're just not going along with the program. How do you maybe navigate to get there? What
I'm
advice
happy
do
to
you
talk
have?
to them for you, because what I like, it's just the things I had to go through were just, it was everything is just harder than it had to be. Where
Yes.
is that as a contrast, my in-laws have all their affairs in order. I know my father-in-law, he was a banker, he has all his affairs in order. My mother-in-law actually has Alzheimer's. He's already starting to plan for everything. So at least the affairs will be in order. So it's like all of this emotional planning and it's financial planning and it's, just seeking to understand, and it just makes it more overwhelming. So my advice was to hear stories of people, because at the end of the day, they don't mean to be a burden, but you if you wait till it's too late, and then they are. It just is.
Right, right. You don't want to wait for episodic cares where you have this episode, it turns everybody's life upside down, and then you're left scrambling, because we don't make the best decisions in the dark or in crisis, right? Because we're not in the best frame of mind to actually think, are my wishes? What would I like to do? What can I afford to do? What does that journey look like? And you're right. I don't think anybody has the intention of, I'm just going to be a burden. But maybe it's a little bit of denial. If I don't face the fact that I'm aging and these are possibilities that might be coming down the road for me, then it won't happen.
No,
We'll
that's
do it.
it.
We put things off that are uncomfortable, you know? Like, who wants to go to the funeral home and prepare for all of that? We don't want to face our mortality. So maybe that's part of it too, but it's at least starting the dialogue. If you're having a little bit of pushback or you're not sure where to start, just ask, if something were to happen today and you would need care, what would you like me to do to help you? We're not taking over control. If anything, we're giving them the driver's seat. You let me know what your wishes are. Let's talk about that.
My parents, one thing they did do well is they did plan out, like, the funeral home, all of that was handled. So when my dad did pass away, and this was a blessing, he had a stroke, he died 2 weeks later. His mind was good, he was driving, he was living at home independently. So just, it was a really bad 2 weeks, but I'll take that anytime over years.
Years.
And he was 92 and 3/4. He had a good long life. All that to say, I knew that he wanted bagpipes. I knew what songs he wanted in the funeral. I was like, he gave him a book, and I've got one over here. It's actually called "I'm Dead Now What." I gave one to my parents, and my dad did kind of fill out the at least the funeral portion and such. So as soon as my
Yes.
dad passed, I started trying to make some sense of some of the things. Some of it she just didn't know. I mean, she was just doing the best. I'll tell you, she could have been a whole lot worse, but it was just messier than it could have been. But I think he knew he
Was
was
it?
going to die first, so he was
Yeah.
11 years older. I think that's why he took the time with
Right.
the funeral and such.
And at some point, that's all of us. So if we can just do better for our kids, we can do that. But if the senior is listening, have those conversations with your children. We plan for babies, we read all the books. We plan for marriage, we go to all the venues, try to find the best place. We plan for college, we take our kids to all the college campuses to see where you want to go. And then this senior part of our life, we're just winging it. And there's too much on the line to wing it. You want to be sure that you are not only getting the care you need, but the care that you want. Where do you want to age? Where do you want to spend those years? What kind of care are you going to need? If you want it at home, how are you going to do that? Right? Like your mom was in Memphis and you're in Middle Tennessee, her staying at home and you're not there, who are those people that are going to be able to navigate that? Because you can't stop your life. So these are just really important conversations that should happen when we're not in crisis and conversational, right? Planning.
Now, if there are
Oh,
parents listening and you have not had this conversation with your adult children, please do it because it just saves them so much extra time, stress, and energy. So
yes.
please take the time. I can't beg enough because I wish I had more knowledge than I did as I've navigated this whole thing. It's made it a lot harder than it had to be, and it's already really, really hard.
So if you had the opportunity to sit down in the room with the people that are shaping senior care, making the decisions that impact the care of our loved ones and the staff that provide the care in the communities or home care, what perspective would you want them to hear? As a family member, how is there maybe a better partnership or a better experience that we could hope for?
That's a good question. And I have been overall happy with the care my mom has received. Actually, she around Easter is kind of when the wheels started falling off. And she did need more care than she had before. And where she's at, they stepped up and they really did take good care of her. So I have been thankful for that. To be honest, looking at a senior care facility to me was just like looking at a daycare. Really not a lot different. I was going in, what place felt like home? Where
Right?
would I trust them with my mom? That I trusted them with my children? It honestly, it felt that was it almost felt like the same type of experience.
Yes.
And I know that everybody, just being a workforce myself, I know that everybody is doing the best they can. So have tried not to be a burden to the caregivers there. Like I know I've seen these other, my mom calls them parents, because my mom calls me now and says this is your daughter, so she's like all the other parents, but I'm like it's really the children, and I think some of them are just like, I'm like they're doing the best they can. And so that's
Right.
why when my mom calls and it's like they haven't given a shower, they haven't picked up my clothes, I'm like they're doing the best they can. You're going to get those back when they get to you. I won't. I mean, the showers I had to follow up because she wasn't on the list. It was a new development since she returned back after
Right.
going to rehab. And so I had to make sure she was on the list because she wasn't. So I did follow up and they were amazing. And there were some hiccups, but I get it because I'm a working person too. And I have hiccups. We have mistakes
Right.
at work. We're all doing the best we can. So
Yes.
my thing is just to be transparent. If there's not enough help, tell us there's not enough help. If just be transparent. But I don't want to talk. I mean, the reason we're paying this much money is because we want you to just take care of it. I don't need to know every detail. I need to know the big things, but I expect you to take care of the things I'm paying for, which are the showers, the food, the making sure you're up, cleaning the room, washing the clothes. I
Right.
mean, this is a big monthly expense, and I expect, the what I'm paying for to happen without me having to follow up. They've done well. I will say I'm going to get my aunt is going to go to the best thing she ever did when we're talking about planning is she put her name on a list for a HUD facility for senior living in Memphis. And it is really good for what you pay. They take a third of your income max. Yeah, I mean, it's not where my mom is, but for the difference in price, it's not very significant. So that was the best thing she ever did. They have a 5-year wait list. So I'm going to see, and
Wow.
this is an independent living, and she's still independent. She drives. I mean, She's definitely independent still, but I'm going to see that side of things too, where they don't have all the meals, they just have lunch. They still also have transportation, activities, the things coming in. So they have a lot of, anyway, so I'm going to see almost two sides of it, this private pay. And then I know it's called a HUD facility.
Subsidized,
It's
yes,
subsidized, but it's anyway, it's really good for folks listening. If you don't have a lot of money, you need to look and see what those places are and get your name on the list today. Because she put her name
yes.
on the list in 2014, refused a room in 2017. And luckily, when I called, they have one available. So that's why I'm going to be able to move her to a good place on subsidized income. So,
Well, the challenge in senior living right now is every day we have 10,000 people turning 65. We don't have enough communities to support the seniors. Like you said, they're on wait list now. Well, we've got this tsunami coming and it's here. So we don't have enough places for them. We have the financial impact. Not everybody can afford it.
right, right.
But if everybody could afford it and they won the lottery today, and if we could magically build enough, we have an HR problem. We don't have enough hands to provide care.
That's
So, how are we going to age safely in our home is our next step we've got to be thinking about. And I know technology is on the forefront and it's here and it's helping people age longer and independently. Crisis starts with we started missing medications or we weren't eating or our vitals weren't being monitored. And then all of a sudden we land in the ER or we have a fall. And so we have this episode of it's going to pivot everything. And I think that's what you experienced with mom. She had a fall, right?
Well, she had multiple faults. She totaled a car, walked away from it. I bought her another car, the exact same year and model, so she would know how to drive it. And it was a lemon. And so I got it all fixed. And she came home and I thought to myself, I've got 3 months until the next big thing happens. I didn't have 3 minutes. She fell right there in front of me and it broke a foot. And that was the third fall that I was like, and then she had to go to have surgery and go to a skilled nursing in Memphis. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. You're going to have to move up here. And so that was her big thing. For my aunt, her big thing was living in a house without AC and not getting it fixed, not getting a temporary one, amidst another couple little problems there that she just like can't handle it anymore. She can't live in a house anymore. It's too much for her to handle. So
And how old is she?
my mom will be 87 on Christmas. My aunt will be 85 they'll be 87 and 85 in December. I would say, if I'm honest with you and your listeners, it's kind of a blessing and a curse because they don't have
Yes.
real medical issues. Like my mom asked about the
Right.
pills. You don't need the Lipitor and the Tylenol. And then, oh, by the way, that aspirin you took, that might have caused this GI bleed. And then you got to take this for edema. Then you pee too much. Then you need potassium. And it is this, like, I can't even, I've learned more than I wanted to know about the healthcare system. But all that to say, they don't have like my mom's issues are really kidney. I mean, she, are kidney type. It's not really a big diagnosis. It's just kidneys are bad. And she had a GI bleed. So then she had some anemia. I just call it in my head. It's like old age-itis. It's not really she
Right.
doesn't really have it's not this or that. It's just a multitude of things that there are band-aids. There are no treatments. So like just
That's a good way of putting it.
and when you go to the hospital, you come back 10 years work behind, making them more uncomfortable and causing more issues. The hospital is looking at that one little issue, and then they get a multitude of issues that are really worse for their daily living than the one they were trying to band-aid. You just got to do the best you can. And she has handled it with grace and dignity.
Thank you, Leslie. Is there any other word of encouragement for seniors or for those caring for them as somebody that's been in that seat for several years?
I have found that the senior living community, like being in assisted living, has been the biggest blessing for me and my mom. It's a community of people and they have services and they make it easy for you. So I guess I would say take away the negative connotation. Yes,
Yes.
are there some bad places? Yes, absolutely. But there are some wonderful places. You got to research, you got to plan, and you got to get on lists. But not to think of this as a negative, but it is kind of a positive. I mean, my best friend and I joke that we love going down there and happy hour every Friday for the music. We'll be like
Right.
the life of the party there when we're in our 80s. I won't take any guilt from anyone for not being the caregiver, but if somebody has anything for me, I shut that down really quickly because, like I wouldn't want to live with my kid. And, like when they're trying to live their lives and raise their family, I want to be independent. It can be
Right.
fun and positive if you let it.
It's anything that you make it for sure. And choosing the right place and what feels like home for you and your loved one, and where you have great communication and trust. If you don't feel like there's an open door and you feel like you're always playing detective, and is my mom really being taken care of? You're not in the right place. You've got to have the communication. And as far as guilt, and we'll wrap this up, if your loved one needed open heart surgery, you would not feel obligated to perform it. You would find the best heart surgeon you can. And that's the same thing with caregiving. We are sometimes just not the answer. It's more than what we can do. And so to do a disservice to your family, to your life, to try to navigate care for another person, you're still dropping balls, right? You're juggling, and we can't drop balls. These are people. Your kids need you. You need you. Your job needs you. These are lives that we are required to lead, and we can't just stop them. But we do want to take care of our parents and those that are aging that need our care, and that's why we have resources. It's a circle of care that is required to do this, and we're just trying to navigate it the best we can and find people and resources and communities that align like that.
I couldn't agree more. And I know my father-in-law, like I said, is taking care of my mother-in-law with Alzheimer's. He's just now getting some help into his home. But at some point it's going to be too much. And I like your analogy of, it's open heart surgery. You would take them to the best doctor if you just need to do the best you can with, like,
Yes.
unfortunately, some days you just have to play the cards you're dealt. That's
That's
what I
true.
found.
That's true. Well, thank you so much, Leslie, for sharing your story and sharing your heart. I know that you love your mom tremendously, and you have such a beautiful relationship. I've seen it myself. You do a beautiful job taking care of her, and now for your aunt. You've reminded us today that aging isn't just a clinical process, that it's deeply human. And caregiving doesn't end at the move-in of a community. It's layered, it's emotional, and at times incredibly isolating. So thank you for bringing hope to the listeners to feel seen and remind them that they're not alone. Until next time, I'm Donna Stevens, and this is the Reset Strategist. Keep resetting what's possible.